Welcome in to Movin The Chains, brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. I'm Kevin Thomas alongside John Epps. We got Jerel Hendricks on the board, as always, here for our Week 4 South Carolina High School football preview show. John, I'm really excited for this week. You know, it's one of those, we still get a good bit of bye weeks, but we got some region play starting up, and outside of that, we got some really fun non-region matchups as well.
Yeah, some great football. Now we know who's for real, maybe a little bit. And we got some of those, some of the matchups that are going to tell us a lot more about some teams this week too.
Going to be a lot of fun for sure. As always, guys, check us out here on Facebook, Twitter /X, Instagram, YouTube, and more at Movin Chains. That's MOVINCHAINS. MovinChains.com is our website. Podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google, and more. We do our weekly preview show here on Facebook about 7:15 on Tuesdays. It's actually live on Facebook and YouTube. Love to have you join us for that. We do a recap show, comes out on Sundays on the podcast platforms. We do coach interviews, player interviews, food reviews, pick them, all kinds of great stuff throughout the week. So definitely check us out on all platforms. Get your Movin The Chains merch. We got some great toboggans for the cold weather coming up. We've got some great Richardson hats. We got some gray, some black, all kinds of good stuff. We've got some hoodies. Also, brand new, we have some T-shirts too. We got a gray one. We've got a black one, a navy blue one. Support the boys. Send us an email, mtcgear.sc@gmail.com. You can message us on Facebook or on email or whatever. Love to get you hooks up. Once again, we have the hoodies too, the gray and the white. Really high quality stuff. Get your stuff. Support the boys. We're up to Movin The Chains at the ball games at on Friday nights this fall here. John, one other thing I'm excited about too is we got the Movin The Chains poll coming out tonight.
Yeah.
So, we give the other polls a hard time a lot of the weeks, but this week we got mine, John, and Jerel's poll dropping. Stay tuned for that. If you tuned in last week, we're doing a little bit of a flip here in the show. So we're going to do the CONA games of the week at the end of the show, but those CONA games, like the 5 big ones we've got Gaffney at Boiling Springs, Richland Northeast at Camden, Chapin at Summerville, Dillon at Hartsville, and then Richard Winn at Wardlaw for our SCISA game of the week. Those are our CONA Carolina Orthopedic and Neurosurgical Associates games of the week. Those will be broke down at the end of the show. So, John, let's start now with 5A. Go through that schedule. We'll talk about some of those ball games, and then we'll just keep rolling throughout the classifications.
Yeah, we start in the low country. Carolina Forest will go to Ashley Ridge. Conway is at Aner. Lucy Beckham goes to Bluffton.
That Aner team, I don't want to mention this again, they have scheduled up because they have to kind of from where they're located. They played some big boys, beat some big boys. Conway took it on the chin against Marlborough County last week. I think Aner continues to roll against some of these bigger programs.
I think they do too. Conway's in big trouble. I'd like to see the Tigers be good again. I feel like it's been a while. Lucy Beckham will be at Bluffton. One of our CONA games of the week, Gaffney going to Boiling Springs. Boiling Springs program, we'll get into this later, but this is now a big game. Obviously, a CONA game of the week. Big time game. Rock Hill will go to Clover.
Rock Hill needs a win. Scored some points against Hartsville last weekend. Not enough to win the ball game. They gave up 40 plus, scored 30. They've got some playmakers there with Grissom and Clark and Ratley. The defense has been a bit of a bugaboo so far. Clover, a pretty good football team there. Love what Coach Woolbright's doing. That'll be an interesting matchup up there in that Rock Hill area. I think Clover is the better football team, but Rock Hill could certainly surprise some folks with that explosive offense.
Yeah, Rock Hill's got the opportunity, the chance to win this game, but I agree with you. Eagles, better team on this in this matchup. Oceanside will go to Dutch Fork.
Dutch Fork playing all the charter schools. Last week, Gray Collegiate. They got Oceanside Collegiate now this week. You wonder, John, if that's a situation where folks just don't want to play Dutch Fork or what it is. I don't know. I mean, obviously the charter schools have had their own issues with scheduling non-region, so they're probably looking to play anybody. In Dutch Fork, maybe it's something similar where nobody wants to play the Silver Foxes. I don't know.
It's like the player haters ball. Hey, if y'all don't want to play us, we'll play each other.
Line it up.
I like to see it, though. It's good programs playing one another. Gray and Dutch Fork playing last week. Good to see. I like to see it. We'll see J.L. Mann going to Easley. Catawba Ridge is at Fort Mill. Woodmont will go to Greenville. T.L. Hanna is at Greenwood.
That's a sneaky game there. One game that we looked at as a potential game of the week. Two really physical football teams. T.L. Hanna saw them firsthand last Thursday, had a nice win over Winn. Greenwood surprised me, John, probably you too, with that shutout over Lexington on Friday night. Didn't see that coming. Coach Liner and Coach Tone, two guys that do a fantastic job getting the most out of their teams. That'll be a fun game down there at the Bab. I don't know which way I would lean in this one. I think T.L. Hanna, the explosiveness might be a little bit higher from them, what they can do with Patterson and Cunningham and Nance there. Greenwood, I like the quarterback a lot with Lewis, but I think T.L. Hanna may be a little bit better football team.
I think so too. I think this could be a really even game. I want to side with Greenwood since they're playing at home. Great stadium, great atmosphere. They've got the BAB. That should be a really fun ball game. Malden will go to Hillcrest.
The Golden Strip Derby, always a fun rivalry game. If you guys don't know, they used to play this game twice a year. They start the season with it, end the season with it. Now, don't anymore now. This is actually the 70th meeting between those two teams, John. Hillcrest has won 11 in a row to take a 35-34 series lead. Great stats from our friend Jeff Smalk there at Hillcrest. Appreciate him getting a stat. Also this Friday, John, at Chandler Stadium there for Hillcrest, they're going to be honoring the 2014 state championship team.
Very cool.
That's the team with Greg Porter as the head coach there. They beat Dutch Fort. They were behind 10-0 in the first quarter in that game. Came back to win 47-17. Just absolutely hammer the Silver Foxes. But Malden, a team that needs a win in the worst way, man. Had a winless season last year. I believe they're still winless so far this season. Coach Cook and the boys, I mean, if you're going to find a time to get off the mat, this is the week to do it against your rival. But I think Coach Swigert and the Rams, Caleb Sutton, Willis, Johnson, Henderson, all those guys on both sides of the ball, man, they are flying around playing good football. I think Hillcrest at home, too many things in their favor. I think they win this ball game.
Yeah, and hopefully they'll have a good crowd out there for that 10th anniversary for that 2014 team, too. Should be a good environment over there at Chandler Stadium. Indianland, they'll host Marvin Ridge from North Carolina.
Sequel Patterson, athlete at Indianland, got an offer from Florida State this week. He's a really, really talented kid, just a sophomore as well, a good basketball player as well. But I think Indianland is a team that I think is laying in the weeds, that has some potential to make some noise down the stretch.
Yeah, that's great news. Hopefully you can get a few more offers too.
I might need him right now.
Yeah, Tallahassee is not the place you want to be at the moment, but still awesome. Obviously a great program. That's cool to get that offer. Myrtle Beach will go to Irmo.
A rematch of a playoff game last year. Irmo beat them by a couple scores. Irmo is just smoking everyone right now. Had a huge win over Carolina Forest last week. A.J. Brand, I think like 400-plus yards of total offense. I mean, just unreal what Coach Brand and those guys are doing.
Yeah, they are a really, very good team. Really good offense to watch there. St. James will go to James Island. West Florence will be at Lugoff Elgin. That will be a region game. That's one of the bigger regions where you got to start a little bit early so everybody can play one another. And
that one's in our pick'em because I think it's an interesting ball game. And we talked about it last week, John. Lugoff Elgin hadn't had that huge offensive showing yet. They did against Aiken. They had, I think, 40-plus point outing there. West Florence has been playing pretty good football. They lost to South Florence week 0 by a touchdown there, but it bounced back with some nice wins. I think that's going to be a contrasting style game there where a really defensive-heavy West Florence team against an offensive-heavy Lugoff Elgin team kind of butting heads.
Yeah, it should be a pretty good game. I think this will be another good measuring stick for the Demons. I think West Florence is probably a slightly better team in this game, but you get them at home, maybe that makes a little bit of a difference. We'll see if we got a little bag of tricks out of Coach Bowler that we saw in that Lower Richland game, but should be a good ball game and cool to see region play starting. We'll see North Myrtle Beach go to Marlboro County. That'll be a good game there.
The Bulldogs they're tough, John.
For real.
Saw a lot of highlights from that Conway game. Those boys are impressive right now.
I know I said in the preseason shows, hey, I don't know about Marlboro County yet. I got to see it to believe it. Well, they've been proving it. They've been proving it, and I'm believing in them now. Nation Ford will play at Northwestern.
Got to mention it. We saw today, Nation Ford head coach Michael Allen resigns, steps down. Not sure all the situation there. In one of the articles, he was quoted as saying that they asked him to stand on a hill that he wasn't willing to stand on. So not sure what that meant exactly. He's resigning. Jason McManus, a guy that folks around here will remember his name. He's been a coach in the state for quite a while now. He will take over as the interim there. Heck of a first week for you, as a head coach, get Big Bad Northwestern on the road. So I don't envy Coach McManus this week for sure, man. The Trojans are playing good football.
Yeah, the silver lining there is nobody expects you to win, so empty out everything you got, do what you can. Sherrall will go to River Bluff.
Sherrall continues their murderers row in a non-region play, going to a 5A school. Now, River Bluff, a team that I think, John, we made it to look at a little more. I think they're still undefeated. Have not played a super tough schedule. They beat Gilbert, a good team, last week. Stopped them on a 2-point conversion late. River Bluff, a team that I think could make some noise. I know that I'm high on Sherrall, a 2A program playing up. You don't expect them to win this ball game, but maybe they can hang tough for a while.
Yeah, I doubt that Sherrall is super competitive late in this ball game. But hey, that's why you play the game. And like you said, I'm not sure how good River Bluff is.
Yeah.
That was a great win, I thought, over Gilbert.
Yeah.
But, we'll see. That's just one game. But fun matchup. Good to see the Braves stepping up again, playing a big-time opponent before they get into region play. Dorman will be at Riverside, a Riverside team that deserves a little bit of attention now. They're playing some good football.
Yeah, another pick'em game there. Riverside, Michaela Skinner was a Cincinnati commit, just decommitted. He's getting crystal balled over to South Carolina now. We'll see if that shakes out there. Gideon Murhib is the quarterback. I'm not sure if I'm saying his last name right or not. I hope I am. If not, guys, let me know. He's slinging it around. Jaden Taylor as well for Riverside there for Coach Rochester, playing great football. And Dorman, that win over Greenwood looks a lot better now than it did after they beat Lexington last week. Dorman, a team that we haven't talked much about the last couple of years with Coach Jake Morris, that they had a nice win over Greenville earlier in the season as well. Of course, lost to Grayson on the road. No shame there. That game will show us a lot more about the upset, I think, as well in those 5A. I believe Dorman, I think it's the big 5A. I think Riverside is the lower 5A, but that will show us a lot. Yeah.
East Side will be at Spartanburg. Sumter goes to Spring Valley. Believe that is a region game as well. Mm-hmm. Sumter, Spring Valley, West Florence, Lugoff, Elgin, and part of that big region.
Also, East Side, I think, is still undefeated too. Have not played a team at the level of Spartanburg. We'll see how good they are this week for Dr. Woolcock there.
They're going to face pretty good defense. We know that.
Yeah.
North Charleston will be at RB Stall. One of our CONA games of the week here. Chapin goes down to Summerville. Beginning of the year, wouldn't think this is that big of a game. Now it's pretty paramount.
Yeah.
Chapin, they are lighting up the scoreboard. This should be a pretty fun game.
Yeah, and we'll get to that one once you said, like you said, John, later on in the show.
Burns will go to Wade Hampton. This is exactly what Burns needs if they can win.
I mean, it's sad that you say that, but the Rebels, you got a 16-game, 24-year winning streak over Greer. You lose that game last week. You come in and winless on the season. Wade Hampton, we talked to Coach Wright in the offseason when he got hired. Really young football team there. Didn't expect to make a whole lot of, big moves this season, really, just with the talent. Or not the talent, but just the age of their team. There's a bunch of young kids there. Burns should get back on the right track. They need to get back on the right track. I know those Rebels fans are not happy with what they're seeing so far.
Yeah, and it's a long season. And, we talk about it all the time is what really matters is region play. Region's going to be tough. But you got time to get things corrected and get the train back on the tracks. We'll see West Ashley go to Wando. Blythewood goes to Westwood. And Cane Bay will be at White Knoll.
White Knoll coming off a bye week. They need a nice win here. They struggled a little bit early on, John. That loss to Sumter was really surprising, but it played better outside of that ball game. So we'll see what happens this week. But Jerel, any comments from you on 5A or from the chat, or just anybody to say hello to as we get the program started tonight?
Tons of comments coming at you guys. I'm going to go rapid fire for you, so be ready for it.
Yeah, don't forget the Jerel Hendricks comments too. Brandon says he'll be at Clinton Daniel Friday night. Should be a good, interesting ball game. I don't know how close it'll be. We'll get to that in a little bit here, Brandon, but always a fun match with those two. Mitchell, good to see you in here, man. Appreciate you joining us as always. Caleb, good to see you, man. Appreciate you joining us. Why says how you feel about Bishop England, Porter Gad, the Holy War. Yeah, we'll get to that one here. Two teams that have played pretty good football. Bishop England, a bit of a surprise, still undefeated, I feel like. So we'll break that one down here in a minute, Wyatt. Chris, good to have you in here, man. Appreciate you. Charles is good. Blue Eagles. Hey, Clover playing good football. We like their chances this week as well. Bradley, thank you for being here, man. Appreciate you. Yeah, Big Gaffney. We'll get those guys here in a little bit. Jackson said, we're just going to lock in at practice to beat Chesney this week. Yeah, Chesney is a team that, with Coach Chappell, kind of flew under the radar this offseason. That's a great hire for them. They've had a couple nice wins already. Woodruff, they're playing really good football. Should be a fun game. I think you're right, though, Jackson. You can't go and you can't overlook anybody.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
You don't want a trap game to sneak up on you.
Brandon says Clinton much better than he thought. Clinton's a good football team.
No, it's not. That's not a bad loss.
Woodruff much better than he thought. Sorry. Yeah, that loss to Woodruff is not a bad loss at all for Clinton. Woodruff is playing good football for Coach Sloan. Hatcher says Gaffney, Bowling Springs, yeah, I think those two are the favorites. With Burns being a little bit down right now, it feels like Dorman, we're still not 100% sure how good they are.
I don't think they're at their level.
Spartanburg, I think, is a little bit down as well from normal. I think these probably are the two best teams at this point. Cody says, hail Gaffney. Brandon says, what happened to Chester? So they had a quarterback injury, Brandon, and that's hurt them a lot. He may be back this week or next week. That's what I'm hearing, and we'll see for sure. But the Cyclones, they also scheduled tough. Play a bigger Lancaster team, play a really good Saluda team last week.
That was a close game against Saluda.
Yeah, played some good programs, but the health of the quarterback spot is what really is hurt the Cyclones. Robert, good having you. Big Dillon. That's
Dillon.
one of our CONA games. We'll break down that Hartsville matchup here later on in the program. Patrick's taking Riverside. Hey, certainly could. They've got an explosive offense right now.
It'd be a big statement for them to win that game.
George says, can't wait for Clinton Daniel. Yeah, that'll be a fun breakdown here in the 4A sheet.
They should play more often.
Kevron says, go Gray. Big, good for them to not play a huge powerhouse this week. You got to kind of like that for them.
Yeah.
Zach says, Clinton's here. Yeah, it'll certainly be a big test, Zach, against Daniel. Jeffrey says he may go to Summerville Chapin, maybe a barn burner. Yeah, you could see some points. You could certainly see some points in that one. Courtney, good to have you in here, Courtney. Appreciate you joining us. What's up from Hampton County? Just Terrence and Vanessa. Yeah, we will get to Hampton County a little bit there. Playing good football. One of our players of the week, Jalen Singletary. Alice, I appreciate you joining us as well. We'll get to that Richard Winn ball game here in a little bit. Deshandra says Camden. They're playing great. One of our CONA games of the week as well.
Really fun game they've got this week.
Courtney says BHP Bears will bounce back. Yes, they play Palmetto. So. They're still a good football team. Just ran into a buzzsaw with West Side.
Yeah, I think it's just unraveled on Friday. I was at that game. Tough.
Let's roll to 4A, guys.
Perfect. Let's look down at the 4A slate now, John.
Yeah, starting in the Midlands, Aiken will go to Airport. Buford.
2 winless teams. Somebody's getting off the snide this week.
Yeah, I like Airport in this one. Buford will be at Battery Creek. Greer goes to Berea off the huge win for the Yellow Jackets beating Burns last week.
How about this? If I gave you a guess as to how many wins Berea has right now, what would you pick?
2.
Okay, yeah, I think you cheated. You looked that up ahead of time.
Well, I
definitely cheated. Definitely cheated. There's no way.
I got him last Friday. Liar. I think they beat Southside last week.
So they do have 2 wins. They're only in week 4. Yeah, good for Berea. Good for Coach Chisholm over there.
Yeah. We'll have the Holy War. Porter-Gaud at Bishop England. Bishop England playing good football.
I'm excited for this. This Bishop England team has played really good for Coach Hall. Quinn Mahoney, the quarterback, the transfer from Oceanside Collegiate, has been a stud so far for them. Jerel saw him firsthand a couple weeks ago. On the Porter-Gaud side, I know it's a SCISA school, but that running back, Jamal Flood, is one of the best ones in the state. He can get it done. They're super exciting. I think Bishop England a little too much depth, but you got to remember, John, they've been a 2A school until this year. Now they're 4A. Yeah. So they're not a typical 4A high school league school as far as depth goes. No. So it's not as big of a disparity as you might see sometimes. I think Porter-Gaud has a chance. I think Bishop England a little bit better right now. Jerel, do you want to hop in and talk about Bishop England? You've seen them in person, and we haven't.
Yeah, no, I think this Bishop England team's very good. They're actually deeper. They have really good numbers. So I will say that. I mean, they dressed out like 50, 60 guys at that hand-to-hand game that I went to. Obviously with it being close by, they maybe brought up some JV just to look a little bit bigger. But I was really impressed with the way that they ran that offense. Porter-Gaud, like you mentioned, is always a tough out for anybody. I think it's going to be a fantastic football game. But on the Bishop England side, I loved how their defense got after it. They're very opportunistic. And the quarterback there at Bishop England, I'm blanking on his name right now, but it's
Quinn Mahoney.
Mahoney, he's a gamer, man. He really gets after it. I think this is like his first year starting quarterback. Might be his first year playing football, but just like an athlete there, just really gets out on boots and things like that. Coach Hall does a great job of scheming it up, but it should be a lot of fun in the Holy War.
Perfect. Back to the 4A slate, John.
Bouncing over to the upstate, we'll have Pickens at Blue Ridge, Lucy Beckham at Bluffton, South Aiken goes to Brooklyn Casey.
South Aiken, a team riding high off of a huge comeback win over Barnwell last week. They're down a couple scores late, get onside kick, score again, a Juju Edwards and a little swing pass there. Brooklyn Casey's still winless. This is a theme with Coach Sharpie is that his teams get better as the season goes on. But I still don't think you want to start off as bad as they have, of course.
No,
there.
You want to have some confidence rolling in the region.
I think we'll learn a lot. This is a region, game this year here. We'll learn a lot about BC. I think South Aiken is a solid football team. I think that confidence they get from a win like that could take them in a good direction.
Yeah, they got some with Edwards. They got some really good talent too. One of our CONA games of the week over at Zip will be Richland Northeast at Camden. We'll dive into that game here a little bit later in the program. Southside High School will be whoa. I don't just like Southside. They will be at Carolina. I gotta collect myself here.
You need to take it for a second here, John?
Oh man. All right. Let's try to bounce back. South Florence will be at Crestwood.
South Florence had a get-right game last Friday night. Oh, my goodness. They had not looked good the last few weeks against Northwestern and Summerville and whatnot, but they come out, they absolutely hammered Fort Dorchester, a team that had been playing pretty good, we thought. They were undefeated, but South Florence, man, laid it on them. I think it was 43-0 at halftime, had touchdowns from like 5 or 6 different guys. The quarterback played well. Coach Marlowe's bunch seems to be kind of getting to figure out a little bit on the offensive side of the football, and I think they win again this week over Crestwood.
Yeah, they certainly should. What big game we just talked about here a little bit, Clinton going to Daniel. Fun matchup here. I think Daniel wins this game, but I'm glad that these two programs are meeting and playing together. They should play more.
Yeah, Clinton's been playing great since that week 0 loss to Woodruff. They bounced back with some really nice wins. Zach says got a chip on their shoulder. He's not been to playoffs 3 times in a row. Yeah. Usually these teams were in 3A, but now this last realignment, Daniel goes up to 4, Clinton goes down to 2.
Yeah.
I hate to see that as those guys get a couple classes apart there. Daniel playing good football, had a little bit of a scare against Stratford there in the first half a few weeks back. Turned around, played great second half. Played a tough ball game against JL Man, falling a few weeks back as well. But they've got some talent. They've got, plenty of playmakers, Turnip Seed and Clary and those guys on offense. You got Chancellor out there. You got Bennett out there. You got Bish. I think Daniel's the better football team right now. I think they win this ball game.
Yeah, I think so. And Daniel, they can compete with
anybody. So no knock against Clinton at all. Yeah. I think Daniel is just that good right now.
Yeah, they are. North Augusta will be at Gilbert.
That's a fun region matchup there. North Augusta, the key will be the health of quarterback Corey Tillman and running back Michael Doe. Both guys went down there in the fourth quarter in that win over Strom Thurmond last Friday night. Early reports where they're going to be okay. I have not been able to confirm that. We'll see. I hope they're back on the field for that one. 2 explosive playmakers. The defense looked great, I thought, for the Yellow Jackets. They really bottled up a tough Strom Thurmond team. Gilbert, we mentioned, had the tough loss to River Bluff, went for 2 late, got it knocked away for Coach Exume there. I think Gilbert at home, that's one of the toughest places to play in the state. Like Gilbert America is special. They have a great atmosphere, a great turnout as well. I think if this is a neutral field, game, everybody healthy, I think North Augusta is a little bit better than Gilbert. This week with the health questions and being at Gilbert, I don't know. Malcolm says they're straight. I'm going North Augusta. Easy enough. Appreciate you, Malcolm. If Michael's back and Corey's back, I'm going to go with the Yellow Jackets, even though it's at Gilbert.
I'm going Gilbert.
Yeah.
I like the Indians. We'll see Midland Valley go to Gray.
Gray Collegiate, like I said, not having to play a powerhouse like Baylor or Dutch Fork certainly helps out. Midland Valley still winless on the year. I don't think it's this week either for them.
Yeah. That trying to replace Dunbar is awfully, awfully tough. I think Gray does win this game too. One of our CONA games of the week. We'll get into this game later. Dillon at Hartsville. I am very excited about this game.
Yeah.
We'll find out a lot about the Wildcats in this one. Hampton County, they will step up, go to Hilton Head this weekend.
Hampton County, still undefeated, a team we have not talked a ton about. Haven't had the toughest schedule yet. Playing good football, man. Jalen Singletary, one of our players of the week, scored 4 touchdowns last week for Coach Hannah's squad. They're getting it done. And it's really impressive to see what that program has done just now in year 2 of them being, combined from Estill and Old Hampton County, now being Hampton County.
Yeah.
Estill and Wade Hampton, excuse me.
Expected this.
Yeah.
A ton of talent there. Darlington will go to Lower Richland.
2 teams that need a win. Lower Richland, a tough loss to Batesburg Leesville. Darlington, a tough loss to Jerel last week. Both teams lost to 2A schools, which is not what you want to have as bigger programs there for sure.
Yeah, Darlington has gotten better. They're a better team than they have been the last couple of years. I think that the Diamond Hornets do win this game, though, out of Lower Richland. AC Flora will go to South Point.
South Point, they got to figure some stuff out. I talked to some folks and watched back some notes from that Northwestern game. Northwestern won 28-14, which honestly, that's pretty good defensive performance there from South Point, holding them to 28.
Yeah.
But the offense, they got to get it figured out. I feel like the last couple of years, John, the trend has been South Point great on defense. Man, they got great athletes on offense too. Can't find the end zone quite enough sometimes, and I feel like maybe that's still the case this year. I know last week we talked about Cam McMillan was back for South Point. However, last week they went with Xavier Currents anyway, and they brought in Cam late in that ball game. So I don't know what the situation is at quarterback. I haven't seen them play in person this year. I know from the highlights I've seen and from what I've seen in the past, I would probably let Currents focus on defense. Like that's where he is super, super good. I'd put Cam at quarterback, give them some stability there, gunslinger. That'd be my thought. I don't know. We'll see how it works out. But yeah, if they get the offense rolling, they're a dangerous, dangerous team.
Yeah, and Friday should be a night where they can figure things out, and they got a little bit of a buffer. They're certainly a more talented team than the AC Flora Falcons team this year. We'll see Fountain Inn Go to St. Joseph's. Okay, so Cam's coming back off injury.
Yeah, so that was the thing. Donald, he played 2 weeks ago against Ballantyne, and then last week they start Jazavian and then bring Cam in. I don't know like what the situation is, like why they're doing it, but I think he may be the key to getting that offense to the next level. I think as the season rolls on.
Certainly a good player.
Yeah. Was the last one Fountain Inn at St. Joseph's?
Yes. Sneaky
game there, I think. Fountain Inn has been pretty good this year. Lost a last game to Woodruff, where Woodruff kicked a field goal to win that ball game. I think they've won every game besides that. The Fury are a good team there. Love the quarterback Sam Holiday. Coach Nichols doing a fantastic job with that brand new program. St. Joe's a bit of a sneaky team. I think in 3A people have kind of overlooked a little bit, talking more about Christchurch and Southside Christian, but St. Joe's is playing football as well.
Yeah, I think it'll be a pretty good game. If Fountain Inn wins this game, I think that would be a pretty big statement for the Fury. First year they've got 12th graders playing.
Yeah.
So I think anything they do, you got to give them credit. Almost like the first year being a full team.
Yeah.
We'll see Emerald go to Strom Thurmond. Seneca is at Travelers Rest. West Side, they will host Prince Avenue out of Georgia. I believe that's one of the premier private schools in the Athens area. Really, really good program, Prince Avenue.
That'll be fun. From folks I've talked to, Prince Ave actually played in that Turf Kings Invitational that week 0 that West Side played. They played the game before West Side. And folks who saw both games say they think that West Side can win. I did not see the first game. I don't know. West Side right now, I wouldn't bet against them against anybody. The freaking Dallas Cowboys, I picked the Rams, I think, right now, man. They are rolling, playing good football, John.
Yeah, I mean, I watched went to the game last week against Belton Homeopath, and I mean, Armani Weaver, the guy scored every
special.
time. I mean, scores on a punt return, an interception return, and caught a touchdown. I mean, the guy is electric, and then you got arguably the best quarterback in the state throwing football. I saw Cutterwoods threw the ball a lot on Friday. I think he threw 2 not great balls.
Yeah.
One was still caught, and the other one was incomplete. But 90% of his passes.
Yeah, he can sling it, man.
Really, really good football team. And the defensive line played tough. Really impressive.
That's what impressed me. I saw them week 0. The defense looked a lot better than it has the last couple of years, man. They've got some playmakers on that side of the ball.
And they rip the ball out, man. They take the ball. They're Dion right now. It's hard to say that they're not.
Yeah.
They're playing great football. Really fun team to watch. We'll see Lakewood go to Wilson, and then wrapping up 4A, Dreer will be at York.
Jerel, thoughts from you on 4A and from the chat as well? Jeffrey said Buford's got some interesting key players. Yeah, they've been playing a tough schedule too, so that does not help. I do think they beat Battery Creek, but they will need to get healthy as they roll deeper into the season. Nathan says, look out for Chester versus Union. Union, a great win on last Thursday night. They come back, I think, like 19 points down, 3 points or 3 scores down to win that ball game. Coach Isom trying to build something there. Chester, we'll see what happens. I don't know if the quarterback is back or not. If he is, that's a key difference maker, but we'll see what happens in that ball game. Mitchell says Mahoney was JV quarterback at Oceanside. Yeah, I thought he transferred from Oceanside. I wasn't sure how much he would play. Thanks for that, Mitchell. Appreciate that. Joshua says you missed Jailman at Easley.
We mentioned it, but that'll be a fun game.
Easley can put up some points. Jay Stoker there at quarterback and swinging around for Coach Houston. JL, man, they are tough, man. McLeod Darnell and LaDania Martin and Asias Morrison. I mean, just playmakers all over the field. The defense has been good as well. I think JL, man, wins pretty handily in this ball game. They're playing really good football right now.
They're a very complete team. They're certainly ahead of Easley. Fountain Inn is certainly coming up, Patrick. They're fun to watch. It's a good story, too. Like to see them do well this year.
Maurice says Strom Thurmond bounce back. Yeah, I was impressed really with the line play for Strom Thurmond. They got a little bit leaned on there late in the ball game, but they held up for most of it against a bigger program. The defense looked great, I felt like. Offense got to figure out a few key pieces, what they want to do to get some more explosive playmakers. Get that figured out. But really impressed with the Rebels at the Peachfields last week. I think they do bounce back over Emerald and get a nice win. Patrick says, Union scored 21 points, minute and 30. Yeah, crazy stuff, man. Big win for Coach Isom. I had to text him on Friday. I was like, Coach, I know that felt good to get that first one off your back. He said, certainly does, my man. So congrats to him.
I think Zach wants the entire, Moving the Chains crew to pick against Clinton this week. So I'm going to give him what he wants. He's going to keep his receipts. I think Daniel's just too tough. I mean, we saw that how they played against JL Man, who we think is one of the better teams in 5A. Daniel's just so good offensively and defensively. They just roll in talent. I mean, you mentioned all the players. You didn't even mention Spencer Kahn. I mean, he's one of the best defensive players in the state as well. So I think Daniel's just going to get it done. I think it's going to be, a 2-score game, about 14 points or something like that. But that's no knock on Clinton.
First
Clinton,
half or at what point?
I say it's a 14, 17 point difference for the Lions. But Clinton, I mean, they're one of the better teams. They're going to compete for a state title.
For sure.
But Daniel's just on another level.
Yeah, you talk about a complete team. They don't get a whole lot more complete than Daniel, and that's every year. Well, Skanelka, yeah, they've been playing very good. We'll talk about 1A here.
Yep.
Shortly.
Yep. Excuse me. Chris, is man really that good? I think they are. I think they're going to keep getting better as well. We mentioned breaking in a new quarterback this year. It's only been 4 weeks into the season now. A lot of growth still to happen there. I like the pieces around him a lot. And we've seen him in person against Gaffney. I felt like they had chances in that ball game. They kind of shot themselves in the foot a good bit once they got the ball. A lot of that was due to Gaffney, of course, but they would make a big play, get down to the 10 or 15, and just completely go backwards. I think they clean up some of that stuff. I think they're a pretty good football team. Being in a good Daniel team was a nice win as well. I think they've got a chance to make a lot of noise in 5A.
Yeah, I mean, and they were a play away from beating Gaffney too. And they did not play their best game.
Yeah. What's your prediction, Dillon Hartsville? Yeah, that's one of our CONA games of the week, Jonathan. We'll get to that one here at the end of the show. We'll break down the Red Foxes and the Wildcats in a big matchup.
Let's go to 3A, guys.
Perfect. Looking down at 3A now, John.
Yeah, we'll have, we talked about Ainer stepping up to the plate. Ainer will host Conway, a 5A program, like Ainer in that game. Beaufort, we talked about going to Battery Creek, like Beaufort there. Powdersville is at Broome.
Big win for the Patriots last Thursday. They go and take on what was the top 3 team in the prep poll, Pendleton, and beat them pretty handily. I think it was 38-20. They won that ball game. Broome has struggled a little bit so far this year. Powdersville, the team that we thought had some talent and just couldn't quite get the win, and now they get one, John. They might start rolling for Coach Muster there. Yeah,
this could be a good game here. I think Broome, I think they're better than what probably us and everyone else is giving them credit for. Mm-hmm. They got whooped against Belton Honey Path that first week. They were in the top 10 of the media poll. They're not that good, but they're tough.
Yeah.
Should be a fun game. Southside will be at Carolina. Woodruff is at Chesney.
That is a fun game there. TJ Morris, quarterback for Woodruff, playing good football there. Coach Sloan's done a fantastic job here in year 2. Coach Chappell at Chesney, year 1 for him. So we'll see how deep of a run they can make. I don't know. Good football coach. They've had a couple nice wins already, but I think Woodruff continues to roll this week.
Yeah, I think so too. They're a really good team. They're going to be fun to follow this year too. Chapman will go to Christchurch.
Chapman worries me. They've not looked great so far this year. Got hammered by Clinton last week. Christchurch has not looked great either. They play some tough competition. They play a Hammond team. They play Asheville School. That they've played, I think, maybe Riverside as well. Some bigger boys there so far this year. I think they're a good team. We'll see. See how this shakes out. I think that's a region game now, I believe, John.
It might be. And Chapman's a team where I think I probably thought they were better than what they actually are. So this will be an interesting game. This will be one of those games where we find out a lot about each team in this matchup.
Not a region game, but a 3A matchup.
3A matchup. 96 will be at Crescent. Talk about Oceanside going to Dutch Fork. Newberry is at Fairfield Central. This is a good ball game here over in Winsboro.
Yeah, Fairfield Central, huge win last week. Maybe one of the better wins of the week, really, beating Louisville very handily. Newberry fought tough, lost to Chapin by just less than a score, had a chance late, scored, kicking onside kick, didn't get it. But they played great for Coach Jeter there. The quarterback situation, they're playing Kenton Caldwell a good bit, had a big game for them. Brad Satterwhite's still there as well. Jamel Howes is a stud. But I think Newberry is the real deal.
Yeah, they certainly are. I'd like to see that Newberry program coming back to life again. This is another game where I'm not really sure where to go with this one. Newberry should win this game, but Fairfield Central is very good too, and it's at home. I think Newberry would have won this game. I think they're probably a little bit better. We'll see Fox Creek. They're going to host Josie High School out of Georgia. One of our CONA games of the week, Dillon will go to Hartsville. We will break that game down a little bit further later in the show. Silver Bluff, they'll go to Georgia. They'll play Lincoln County.
They need a win, man. They're struggling right now. New coach, some new players in there. They got to get it figured out.
I think they're going to be okay. I think they're going to figure it out when the time comes. Once region play rolls around here for some schools this week. Silver Bluff, I think they'll jump into region play next week. I think they'll be okay at the end of the day. North Myrtle Beach, they will go to Marlboro County. American Leadership will go to Mountain View.
I believe that game has changed. I believe Mountain View is now playing, I think, Asheville School. I think out of North Carolina. I saw that. Mountain View continues to impress. They had a tough one last week. They were down for a while, came back, won that game handily. They're playing really good ball for Coach Ramsey.
Yeah. It's going to be fun to see them in region play and further down the road too. Tons of talent on that team. Keenan will be at an undefeated Orangeburg-Wilkinson team. OW, the Bears getting some love in the SC Media Prep Poll. I'm not sure how good they are yet. I don't know if we're going to find out a ton more about them this week against the Raiders, but certainly got to keep them on the radar as an undefeated program.
They started out well. They certainly have. Keenan has had some tough battles as well. I think they played Pendleton. They played Blythewood. They lost their coach a few weeks ago with some weird stuff going on there for Keenan, but OW is playing good football for sure.
Belton Homeopath, they'll try to bounce back against Palmetto. They will be on the road to Palmetto. I think they do that this Friday in that game.
Yeah, Palmetto improved now in year 2 under Coach Ryan Norton. Still not quite the level of BHP. I feel like right now I think Marquise Henderson gets a get-right game. I think they put up big numbers on the road.
And Marquise Henderson, really, I don't think he played at all in the second half either. No injury, just the nature of the ball game and his future. Kept him on the sideline, so he'll still be fresh. Going into Friday as well. Saluda will be at Southside Christian. Pretty big ball game here.
Saluda continues to win. Everybody I've talked to says that Tigers defense is for real. I know they've had some quarterback injuries as well. Not sure what the status of that is. Southside Christian haven't really had a signature win yet. This is their chance for that this season.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what to expect in this game. I like Saluda. We'll see. I think this will be definitely a good bounce. Maybe not a bounce back, but a good uplift for Southside Christian if they can win this game. And if Saluda wins, it is another stamp on their resume of, hey, we are really, really going to be a contender this year. Fountain Inn will be at St. Joseph's. North Charleston at RB Stall. Barnwell will go to Swansea.
Barnwell, we mentioned it earlier, the tough last-second loss to South Aiken last week. Swansea comes in undefeated. Coach Fox and the boys, how good are they? We don't really know. We'll find out this week. Obviously, they're a bigger class than Barnwell. But I think Barnwell, this is a huge game for them. They don't necessarily have to win this game, but I needed to see them bounce back and perform at a high level like that. I was talking to Jerel on the recap show. You lose a game like that at South Aiken where you give up tons of points late and you lose basically a last-second pass there. That could be one that, sticks with you for a few weeks now. And I think Coach Smith and the guys need to get right and get better and play good football. And I think they've got enough seniors on that team with Logan Sturkey and Cam Austin and those guys that have been playing a lot of football for the Horses to kind of bounce back and not let that beat them twice. I think Barnwell goes on the road and kind of stops that Swansea winning streak this week.
I think they do too. I think Swansea's good enough to grab their attention, and the fact that it's not reach and play doesn't hurt you. And as far as the playoffs go, last week's loss, I think they'll be able to bounce back and win Friday too. Hanahan will travel to Timberland.
Timberland's laying in the weeds a little bit. Had a nice win, a couple weeks back. They beat Cross. I believe they beat Lake City as well. The big lineman, Desmond Green there. Hanahan, a bit of a tough start of the season. A couple tough losses to Bishop England, Lucy Beckham, also Philip Simmons early on. They got some playmakers there for Coach Turner. Got to get it figured out and play some good ball down the stretch.
Yeah, they've run into some I feel like they've played some teams that we didn't expect to be as good as they are this year. So Hanahan, maybe a little bit of a tough luck start this year. Should be a good game, though. Chester, as we talked about, Chester will be at Union County. Boy, this used to be a big-time game. Well, I say it used to be a big time. It used to be a region game for the highest classification years ago. Weird to see it as a 2A, 3A game now, but still cool to see those two programs get together. Liberty will be at Walhalla. Landrum goes to West Oak, and our HTC game of the week this week will be Andrews at Walkmall.
Yeah, Andrews, the Yellow Jackets, 3-0 under Coach Scott Durham. Walkmall comes in at 2-1 under head coach Mondre Johnson. Last year, John, Walkmall won this matchup 23-18. Andrews coming off a big 38-21 over Andrew Jackson. It really was not that close, honestly. And Walkmall, a nice 42-8 win over Johnsonville. For the Yellow Jackets, quarterback Brandon Cumbie, running back A.J. Lee. And listen to this stat line from defensive end Khalil Dorsey. 6 tackles, 3 TFLs, 3 sacks, a fumble recovery, a pick, and a pass breakup last week. Huge game for Khalil there. Walkmall led by the Great brothers. Quarterback Andre Great had a touchdown last week. Running back AJ Great had 2 touchdowns last week. Running kind of a triple option attack there for them. Defensively led by Aiden Hastings and RJ Rogers. This is a fun rivalry game there, I guess, in Georgetown County, you could call it. Who do you like between the Warriors and the Yellow Jackets?
I like Andrews. I think they've kind of been a program last few years that I feel like kind of been, in the shadows, but, come playoff times, they're ready to go. This Andrews team is really good, really good program. I like Andrews in this game. And I love the stat. I love seeing the big guys getting their hands up, getting the hands on the football. Love to see that.
I'm a big proponent of Brandon Cumbie, the quarterback, Super 75 guy for us at Andrews. He's a stud, man. I really like what he brings to the table. 2 teams that both want to run the ball a lot, both want to do some misdirection, kind of triple option style stuff. Andrews going more of a Jamie Chadwell kind of pistol set this year, 2 running out of there, but still want to get the ball in the hands of the playmakers on the ground quickly. I think Andrews a little better football team right now. I know they're going up a class. I think Andrews can win this one. Jerel, what do you think about our HTC Hometown Connection game of the week?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Andrews as well. I think they're going to win this game like Brandon Cumbie a lot. Like John said, I think Andrews as a program kind of been laying in the weeds a little bit. They're very consistent. It was awesome to do our preview with them in the offseason to kind of see where they're going with Coach Durham there. But I think they get a little bit of revenge. We had Walkmall winning this one last year. I think Andrews takes it this year.
I love it. Once again, that is our HTC Hometown Connection game of the week. Each week we'll have a game from either Horry, Georgetown, or Marion County is our HTC Hometown Connection game of the week. HTC, this is live. Connect with it. Check out them. They are great friends of the program. Jerel, any comments from you or the chat on the 3A slate? Dadrian says Andrews' quarterback is fired. Yeah, Cumbie is really good. Exactly right, Dadrian. He's a good player. Courtney says BHP Bears win by 90. I don't know about 90, but I do think they win this week, Courtney.
They could use it.
Torrey says established Westside's the best team. Don't count out BHP at a 3A. Yeah, I think they're still, probably the best or second best team in 3A. Certainly, Torrey. They are a good football team. Zach says Mountain View played. Mountain View played Atlantic Collegiate first game of the season at Presbyterian, not American. Justin says Marlboro County with the win. They look good. They certainly do, man. They played some bigger programs, played some out-of-state guys. Coach Johnson and the boys are rolling right now. I think they win again this week.
Sorry, guys, having some technical issues.
Technical issues? Oh, no, Jerel.
The comments getting jumbled up.
Probably the computer's fault.
Just vamp for us there for John for a second. Just talk about Marlboro County. How much you love Marlboro County, man. Purvis, a huge game last week, receiving and rushing for them. What they're doing with Dwyer and Keenan and Blackwell, those guys, they're getting it done. Marlboro County looks really good.
A lot of talent.
Chris says, Woodruff by 21 in the battle, 2-21. Yeah, I think they got to be a favorite there. Derek says, Powderville leaned on the run to get a win. I think that's a key. They've got some good offensive linemen there, some good skill players, Huggins, and I like the quarterback too, Reed. But yeah, I think if you can get that run game going up front for Coach Muster, I think that would be a key to some victories down the stretch here.
That is it. Yeah, Keisha, definitely. Thank you for correcting that. And they are playing Asheville School, speaking of MVP this week. So
okay, perfect. Well, Jerel, shout out some friends of the program before we look down at the 2A slate.
Ready to find your home field advantage? At Founders Federal Credit Union, we offer competitive rates to tackle buying a dream home with ease. Our team will coach you through every step. Plus, we never charge private mortgage insurance. Don't fumble your chance at home ownership. Start your journey with Founders. Visit foundersfcu.com/mortgage today. Terms and conditions apply. Member qualification required. Equal housing lender. Institution NMLS. Identifier number 41064.
At HTC, we're here to keep you connected. Here to provide reliable fiber optic internet with free, fast, and secure HTC Smart Wi-Fi. HTC, here to connect.
John, let's take a look down at the 2A slate now.
Starting in 2A, we'll see St. John's going to Academic Magnet. Calhoun County will be at a red-hot Batesburg-Leesville team.
Boy, they're playing good football. Coach Lawson has got the boys headed the right direction. Offense looks great right now for those guys.
Panthers look for real. Blacksburg will be at Central of Pageland. Yeah, you're right. It could be a sneaky good game. Calhoun County's they're not an easy win.
Yeah, I'm excited for that Blacksburg Central game. Central, last time we saw them, had the big win over Lamar, 40-38. Blacksburg on the wrong end of that Union County game last week. I think this will be a good test. We'll learn a lot about both teams, who is pretty good and who's not, really. Central was at a a flash in the pan, crazy upset over Lamar? Are they a legit football team? Blacksburg, how good is that offense? Coach Batchelor, love the Sims kid and those guys. How much can they do, and how deep of a run can they make as well?
I think the Eagles get the win at home. Woodruff will be at Chesney. 96 goes to Crescent. We talked a couple times about the Clinton Daniel game. That will be over in, I say over in Daniel. That will be over in Central.
Yeah.
Lake City will be at East Clarendon. Rich Spring Monetta is at Eau Claire. McCormick will go to Edisto. Talked about Newberry going to Fairfield Central. That's going to be a really fun ball game over there. Two really good teams. Buford goes to Great Falls.
Great Falls still looking for win number 1 for Coach Newton. They actually got a decent chance to look, I believe.
They got a chance. Hampton County will go down to Hilton Head. Lake Marion plays at Hunter Kenner Tyler.
Lake Marion had a nice win over Cross last week. Big Cross falling down to Lake Marion there. HKT is a football team too. Got smacked pretty good by Louisville a few weeks back, but they've got some solid playmakers there. I think HKT wins it, but it could be an interesting ball game.
I think they win too. Marion will go to Kingstree.
Two teams that need a win. Marion, they got the one win over Latta. Outside of that, they've gotten hammered each week. Kingstree has not been impressive so far this week or this season as well. Interesting to see how that one shakes out.
Yeah, weird to see Marion in this position they're in right now. Andrew Jackson will go to Louisville.
We mentioned Andrew Jackson. Tough loss last week to Andrews. Louisville, tough loss last week to Fairfield Central. Somebody's got to bounce back here. I think I like Louisville a little bit better. I know, I did some research on the game. I think they had a bunch of times where they kind of shot themselves in the foot. Like they had 3 times inside the 10, and they didn't convert on 4th down. Threw another pick in the end zone there. Had a chance to play that game and to win that ball game, and just kind of let some things slip through the way there, and kind of got out of hand. Andrew Jackson, that was like I said, that game was not as close as the score was last week to Andrews. I think the score was 38-21. It was not that close. I think Louisville bounces back and gets a win here.
Yeah, and I didn't think AJ was going to be very good this year, losing the running back from last year. I believe they lost the
Trey Thompson.
Thompson. But then they had a good win 2 weeks ago. I thought, okay, well, maybe they're actually are pretty good. And then they get beat up last week. So maybe it's just the quarterback. Maybe it was just a really good quarterback play, like you were saying. So we'll see. It'll be an interesting ball game here. But yeah, I agree with you. I think Louisville comes out on top in this one. Chesterfield will be at McBee.
The Rams are still undefeated for Coach Quinn there. Another nice win last week. McBee got some talent, a really good safety there for the Panthers. Can't think of his name right. I like him a lot. But I think Chesterfield wins again, man. I think they continue riding this high streak now for Coach Matt Quinn.
They're going to be fun to watch. Pelion goes to Mid-Carolina. We talked about Mountain View Prep. They're going to be hosting not American Leadership.
Asheville.
That's what's on the schedule.
Asheville
School. Atlantic Collegiate will go to Mullins. Mullins team playing good football.
Still undefeated. Beat Latta last week. I mean, I can't be happy for Coach Lowry, a team that didn't win a game last year. Now they might not ever lose again, it seems like. I mean, they're just playing good football.
Yeah, love to see it. Lamar will go to North Central.
Lamar, great bounce back last week. After a tough loss 2 weeks ago, they come back and beat a pretty good Lake City team, it felt like. Defensive player Vernon Irvin had a huge game. I know the quarterback, I believe, went down, not with really an injury, had a brace on his knee, and it busted. And so they took him out of the game to be safe there. I assume he's back this week. Zori Pierce there. Love what Zoom Jackson brings to the offense, and, the explosiveness that he brings to them. I think Lamar wins this football game. North Central has been kind of up and down, it feels like. And so I think the Silver Foxes are a better team.
Yeah, Lamar should win this ball game. Burke will go to Ridgeland. Sherrall, we talked about going to River Bluff. Saluda will be at Southside Christian. Emerald goes to Strom Thurman. Barnwell, we talked about going to Swansea. Could be a good game there. Talk about Hanahan going to Timberland. Chester at Union County. Fun game over there in Union. Our HTC game of the week. Andrews at Waccamaw. Columbia will go to Wagner Sally. Liberty is at Walhalla. Landrum will go to West Oak. Phillips Simmons is at Whale Branch. And then Bamberg Earhart goes to Woodland.
Woodland, a team kind of flying under the radar. I think they're still undefeated right now, John. Bamberg Earhart has the one loss to Barnwell so far. We know what they do with Coach Crosby. They're going to be a tough, hard-nosed physical football team. The quarterback, Chanston Crosby, is a dual-threat guy, big playmaker there. Marcus Can's an athlete as well. Woodland still kind of figuring out what they're going to be under Coach Ford. We've seen them keep winning ball games. We just don't know a lot about them yet, it feels like. But that'll be a fun matchup there between those two. Any comments on 2A, Jerel, from you or from the chat? Patrick says Coach Batchelor will get Blacksburg back on track. Yes, I think he will too. He's a great football coach. Ruddy says Saluda.
Saluda
Yeah,
playing
certainly
good.
a fun game there. I think they can get this one, but will be a tough matchup.
Let's move on to 1A, guys.
Yeah, and one thing I do want to mention, John, I'm excited for next week when we are fully in region play. We won't see these cross-class matchups anymore, so it won't be like we're not repeating ourselves a bunch, and you'll know where to go to hear us talk about your school. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to like jump around to find it, but we'll have it fixed for you guys next week. But let's look down at the 1A slate now, John.
And I am going to repeat games just in case someone joins later.
Yeah.
You don't miss out. St. John's will be at Academic Magnet. Calhoun County, we talked about going to Batesburg, Leesville, really good Panther team right now. Baptist Hill goes to Bethune-Bowman. Scotch Branch, they will be at Branchville. C.A. Johnson will host Allendale Fairfax. Calhoun Falls will host Andrews High out of North Carolina. Military Magnet will go to Cross. Blackville Hilda at Denmark Olar.
Two teams with some pretty good playmakers there. I think Blackville Hilda is a better football team. They've gone up in class 2 weeks in a row, beating 96 and then beating Silver Bluff. They're playing good after that week 0 loss to Barnwell. Coach Jones has got those guys playing good football right now. I think they win again pretty handily over Denmark Olar.
Yeah, Blackville Hill are a good team. Good team this year. Dixie will host the Anderson Cavaliers. Dixie undefeated right now.
They are going to stay that way. I don't know much about I don't know a lot about the Anderson Cavaliers. I'm just going to put it out there. I think Dixie is better than them, though.
I'm going to go on record and bet that as well. Eau Claire, they'll host Rich Spring Monetta. McCormick will go to Edisto. We talked about Great Falls hosting Buford. Carver's Bay will go to Hannah Pamplico. Hunter Kenner Tyler hosting Lake Marion. Lakeview will go to Johnsonville.
Johnsonville's struggling right now. Still trying to figure it out a lot, but Lakeview's playing good football. Some nice wins so far this season. I think the Wild Gators win again.
Yeah, Johnsonville, they've had some really good years last few years, dropping off this year right now, like the Wild Gators here. Green Sea Floyds will go to Latta. Hardyville will be at Lee Central. Talked about Andrew Jackson going to Louisville. Chesterfield is at McBee. Lamar going to North Central. Burke at Ridgeland. Columbia goes to Wagner Sally.
I do want to say for Burke, hopefully they can get a full game in this week. You know, I know last week we had to call that one in the second half. Had a bit of a fight between them and Hemingway, and then some fans decided to come on the field too. So that's cool. But yeah, hopefully Burke can play a full football game this Friday.
Yeah, let's not roll on the field.
Yeah,
come on.
Yeah,
these are kids.
Yeah.
Right? Ware Shoals, they'll host Hickory Christian out of North Carolina. And then, as we talked about earlier, Bamberg Earhart going to Woodland.
Jerel, any comments from the chat on 1A? Brown says Hanahan at Timberland. Yeah, Brown, talked about it a little bit earlier. The Wolves are playing football. You mentioned 3-1 there. They've played a tough schedule and are playing good down there. I like what they bring to the table. Hanahan, a team that's played some tough teams. I mean, they really have. You know, they've had a tough schedule so far. That'll be an interesting matchup to see what Coach Fields' defense does against, Desmond Green and that high-powered front line there for Timberland. It'll be a fun matchup down in Low Country.
Should be.
Any else, Jerel, on 1A if we look at the SCISA slate for this week?
Let's jump into SCISA.
Perfect. We've got Colleton Prep at Clarendon Hall. We mentioned it earlier. Porter Gal going to Bishop England. Oak Brook at Newberry. Trinity Collegiate at Dillon Christian. King at Lawrence. Calhoun and Andrew Jackson. Kings at Cathedral. Florence Christian at Williamsburg. Florence Christian, a tough loss last week to PD. Williamsburg, a big win over Thomas Hayward. Going up 2 classes this week. I think Williamsburg has a good chance in this matchup. Northside Christian at Spartanburg Christian. Camden at Wilson Hall. Camden Military Wilson Hall. Orangewood Prep at Greenwood Christian. Thomas Sumter at Lee. Holly Hill at Jefferson Davis. A rematch of the state title game last year, John. Holly Hill 4-0. JDA 4-1. Parker Kaiser, Ashton Souls against Nazir Void and Colson Lode Holt. Excuse me, guys. We have a fun matchup there. Our SCISA game of the week, Richard Winn at Wardlaw. Get it out here in a minute as well. Augusta Christian at Lawrence Manning. Bethesda at Patrick Henry. Cardinal Newman at Heathwood Hall. Cardinal Newman running back Caleb Ford already crossed the 1,000-yard mark so far this season in 4 games. So impressive what he's doing there for Coach Helms. Buford Academy at Dorchester. PD Academy at St. John's. Thomas Hayward at Faith Christian. Northwood at Ben Lippin. Hilton Head at Hammond. And Christian Academy at Hilton Head Prep. Drill, any other comments from the chat before we get ready to go into our CONA games of the week?
No comments right now. Let's thank some people for keeping the lights on.
The George Agency has been serving the insurance needs of South Carolina for over 40 years. They're a full-line insurance agency concentrated in employee benefits and health insurance with an office in Mullins and Murrells Inlet, but they can help you all across the state. They have clients in Greer, Rock Hill, Columbia, and more. So wherever you are, they can help. Give Bradley, Wayne, Richard, and the crew a call or check them out online at thegeorgeagency.net. That's the George Agency.
Carolina Orthopedic and Neurosurgical Associates, CONA, offers the most advanced training and experience in orthopedic surgery, neurosurgery, sports medicine, and pain management in the upstate. 3 convenient locations in Spartanburg, Duncan, and Greenville. Go to CONA.care to learn more.
Let's look now, John, at our Carolina Orthopedic and Neurosurgical Associates, our CONA games of the week. 5 big matchups across the state. Let's start now with our SCISA CONA game of the week, and that's Richard Winn at 4-0, traveling to Wardlaw at 4-0, an 8-man matchup here, John. Last week, Richard Winn big over Lawrence, 56-20. Wardlaw big over Oakbrook, 58-34. Last season, they played twice. Regular season, Richard Winn won 57-34. In the playoffs, they won 38-30, so a close matchup there. Richard Winn, quarterback Charlie Bonds, had 2 TD runs and a TD pass last week, and also I saw today just committed to Francis Marion to play baseball. So
Very
hats
cool.
off there to Charlie. Awesome for him. Barber Smith, 2 rush TDs. Bennett Nicholson, 4 rushes for 85 yards and a touchdown run. 4 catches for 103 and a touchdown catch. A big game there for Bennett. On the Wardlaw side, former player of the week, Colt Bailey, 5 for 11, 125, 3 touchdowns, 16 carries for 237, 3 more touchdowns. Chandler Thorne, Judah McClendon, both had rush touchdowns. McClendon, Jackson Smoke, and Michael Martin also had TD catches. Defensively, Thompson with 15 tackles and Smoke with 12 tackles, 3 TFLs. John, if you guys have not heard us say it, 8-man football, you get a lot of points. So you get a lot of offense, a lot of explosive plays here. And these are 2 of the more explosive players in 8-man SCISA football.
Yeah, it sounds exciting. Need to check it out. Richard Winn lining it up. I like Richard Winn to win this game.
This is a tough one for me. You know, I wonder – man, I like both the quarterbacks. I love Bonds. I love Bailey. I'm going to go Wardlaw at home. Actually, no, wait. I scratch that. Sorry. You know what I am doing. I'm doing it. Wardlaw at home. Let's go with Colt Bailey. Let's go with Wardlaw. Let's go with the Patriots at home this week, man. Jerel, who do you like in this matchup?
Recency bias, right? We were right there amongst the peach fields as well. Let's go Wardlaw. Let's see if they can pull it off this week. Colt Bailey, player of the week, man. He's been getting it done.
Perfect. That will be a fun matchup. Either way, I think these teams certainly could match up again in the playoffs down the road here. Our next CONA game of the week, 2 undefeated matchups here, or 2 undefeated squads here, John, in 5A. That's Chapin at 4-0, traveling down to take on Summerville at 3-0. Chapin, 42-37 over Newberry last week. Summerville coming off a bye. John, are the Eagles for real? Are they ready for a matchup like this against the Green Wave?
I think they are for real. I think they're a really good team. But what scares me is Newberry's a really good team. They're a 5A program. They should have really been able to put their pedal to the metal against the Bulldogs. Giving up 37 points to Newberry is a little bit frightening. I think we could see a lot of points on the board. I know Summerville's giving up some points on their end so far too. I think we see a high-scoring affair, which might favor Chapin a little bit more than Summerville. Chapin's got great quarterback play. I like Summerville at home. I think they are the better team. Chapin looks good. They're certainly look improved, like an improved team. I think they're worthy of the attention they're getting, but I think Summerville's the better team in this matchup.
You mentioned Chapin quarterback Brady Albro. Last week came off the bench, had a leg injury, wasn't sure he was going to play. He came in and he lit it up, John. 18 for 25, 275, 4 touchdowns. He's now got 3 touchdown passes in 6 straight games, going back to last season there. Receiver Kalen Bostic, 6 catches, $142, 2 touchdowns. Running back Coleon Martin, a rushing and receiving touchdown. An athlete, Stone Furry. Coach Furry, wide receiver coach down in South Carolina, Mike Furry, his son, big-time player for Chapin. Defensively, Gavin Stam, 12 tackles, 2 TFLs, and Tanner Short with 9 tackles for Chapin. Summerville side, quarterback Jaden Cummings, one of the better players in the state, one of the better quarterbacks in the state, a Dartmouth commit there. Receiver Jaden Kelly Murray, athlete Keyshawn Washington, running back Javen Williams, averaging 100 yards per game, and then defensively, Jaden Waring, Yasir Smith, Ryan White. Yeah, this is a game where I think Summerville is a very good football team. They've impressed me so far this season, John. I wasn't howling them going into the year. I'm howling them now. Chapin, I think they're good too. I just don't know if they're quite as good as Summerville. It's probably the best defense they face. I think Summerville wins this ball game at home.
I think so too. Chapin, they certainly could be a playoff team. but this is a good game for them because they're going to be in a very tough region, and that's going to start next week. I think they play Dutch Fork to kick off region play. So we'll know a little bit more about Chapin.
For sure.
I think we know more about Summerville at this point than we do Chapin, but we'll find out a lot more about the Blue Eagles this week. And hey, if they go down there and they win, that region is going to be even more interesting than how we've talked about last couple of weeks.
No doubt about it. Should be a great 5A football game there. Jerel, comments from you on this one or from the chat on this Chapin Summerville matchup?
My concerns are for Chapin here, echoing the sentiments that John had there. While Newberry is a very good team, playing them within 5 points scares me when the next week you play Summerville with how good that team is. We were worried, with Yannick Smith leaving, how that cast of characters would, surround Jaden Cummings there. And it's been, no shortage of, offensive output for those guys. So the Green Wave are going to continue to roll. I think Chapin has done a great job this year getting started. Of course, Albro at quarterback has done a fantastic job. But Summerville is just a different beast right now. And I think they win by a lot.
And how about hats off to Cummings? Talk about a Dartmouth commitment, Ivy League school.
Mm-hmm.
That is really, really cool. More should be talked about that. That's awesome.
Yeah. Perfect. Our next CONA game of the week. Always a fun rivalry here, John. That's Dillon. The Wildcats at 4-0. Traveling to take on Hartsville at 1-1-1. Had that weird tie with Carolina Forest a few weeks back. Dillon, a big 48-7 win over Marion last week. Quarterback Ramon Hamilton, 2 pass touchdowns. Running back Jamarion Fling, 2 rushing touchdowns. Damo Felton is a good piece of an offense. Ejon Green, Day Williams are good receivers. I think you both had touchdown catches last week. Defensively, Dan Graves is a good player for them as well. Hartsville, a nice 49-30 win over Rock Hill. Running back Hakeem Waters, 3 rush touchdowns. Kyleth Miller, a guy you're high on, had 2 touchdowns last week. Quarterback EJ Smith also with a TD. They held Rock Hill to 41 yards rushing. Really impressive there for Coach Calabrese's squad. Linebacker Webb Barnes, athlete Demarion Coe are big-time players on that side of the ball for them. John, this game last year, Hartsville had to come from behind in the second half, and they won by 17. They were down big, came back and won 51-34. Hakeem Waters had 4 touchdowns in that matchup. The Wildcats get some revenge this year over at Kellytown. The Red Foxes win again. What do you see happening here?
I think these are 2 pretty even teams, but I'm going to lean Hartsville in this game for a couple of reasons. One, it's in Kellytown. That's a big deal. And 2, Dillon really hasn't been tested yet this year. Hartsville has. They've had that tough, grinded out game over at Zemp Stadium a couple of weeks ago. They lost by 8. A game, they had their chances to win that game. They had the lead in that game. Hartsville is a really, really good team. We talk about them, that they get a lot of respect. I don't know if they get enough.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of attention is on Hakeem Waters. Kyleth Miller is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That kid's a really good player. Quarterback plays pretty good too. The defense plays really well. They're a really well-rounded team, a really well-coached team, and they've been tested, and they're at home. I like Hartsville in this game. I don't know if they play in the playoffs. I may change my mind. Obviously, depending on what happens Friday night too, could change my mind. I like Hartsville in this game. I like the Red Foxes. I'm not going to shake my head at anybody that picks Dillon, though. Dillon's a really good team. I haven't seen enough out of this Dillon team yet to feel confident in picking them over Hartsville.
Yeah, these are 2 teams that, you pick them to win games 90% of the time because they're that good, no matter who they're playing. And I think this is a really even matchup this year. I think Hartsville maybe a little bit smaller than they have been in years past. I think Dillon on defense, especially a little bit smaller than usual. I like the Wildcats to get a win here. I've been really impressed with the quarterback Ramon Hamilton stepping in and take over this year. Has played good football. I love Jamarion Fling, one of my favorite players in the state. I think Coach Roller and the guys go on the road to Kellytown and get a win. But it should be a fantastic ball game. Lots of playmakers. Could see some points in this one. But I like Dillon here in a close one. Jerel, comments from you or the chat?
Yeah, I like Dillon as well in this game. I like what Jamarion Fling brings to the table. That Hartsville game against Camden, that second half kind of collapse, things falling apart, kind of shook me a little bit, and that's why I'm leaning Dillon in this one. Johnny makes some great points as well. I think Hartsville's a great team. These are 2 fantastic programs, so you can't go wrong picking either one of these schools, but I think Dillon gets a little get back down in Kellytown this weekend.
Perfect. Looking at our Next CONA game of the week, a game that if you looked at it when the season started, John, it probably wasn't going to be on the games of the week. But now it certainly is. Richland Northeast, the Cavaliers, come in at 4-0, traveling to Zemp Stadium, taking on Camden at 3-1. R&E, 58-49 over Nation 4 last week. Camden, big 43-26 win over Ridgeview, John. Who do you like in this matchup? What are some early thoughts? I've got some stats for you here in a minute, but what do you like in this game?
Well, what I like in this game is the Richland Northeast offense. How explosive they can be against the very aggressive, very fast Camden defense. This is a really, really good matchup between really good offense, really good defense. Really excited about that. And Will Wilson, my uncle, he lives in Irma. He told me about how good Will Wilson was 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, man, Richland Northeast, he's probably going to be the best quarterback in the state. Mm-hmm. He is playing some really good football right now. It's going to be really fun to see him against this Camden defense, defensive line. This is going to be a great matchup. I'm really excited about this. I think Camden's probably the better team here. I think they win this game. But if Will Wilson has a really good ball game, if he's really sharp, Cavaliers have a great chance to win.
Will Wilson, the NC State commit. You mentioned one of our players of the week, John. Last week he went 24 for 27, 386, 5 touchdowns passing, 15 rushes for 165 and 3 TDs on the ground. That's 8 touchdowns, John. That's 8 touchdowns, John. I said, that's 8 touchdowns, John.
That's 2 hands.
Big game from Will there. Running back Cam Buckley, receiver Blake Batet had 10 catches, $153, 2 touchdowns there. The defense, can they stop anyone? That is the question. That is the question for Richland Northeast there. On the Camden side, quarterback Wyatt Thompson been really impressive so far this year. 165 passing, 185 rushing. Tylen Drakeford had 2 touchdowns last week. Running back Navier Boykin had 2 touchdowns. Love DB receiver JoJo Krim. They were down 26-21 at half in that ball into Ridgeview, John. Came back, shut them out second half, win 43-26, excuse me. Played really well in that half. For me, I've been super impressed with what Camden has done on offense this year. You know, after all they lost last year, you know, with Mayrant and White and those guys there, Hickman as well, Harriet, just the way that they have been able to put points on the board with basically a whole new, you know, cast of characters there is really impressed me so far for Coach Remp's team there. I love what they're doing on that side of the ball. Always tough on defense there, you know. Richland Northeast, man, this is really a prove it, you know, kind of a show me game where, you know, you're playing a big boy now. We'll see how good you guys are on offense. Can you get enough stops? I don't know. I got to go Camden just based off of, you know, the body of work and what I think they can do on both sides of the ball. I'm going to go Camden in a close one here, but Wilson, I think he will get his as he always does.
I think this might be a common thing we see this year. I would not be surprised if Richland Northeast has the lead at halftime. Will Wilson has a big first half. And then Camden, like they obviously did against Ridgeview, what they did against Hartsville, make those adjustments on defense to be able to get enough stops to win. And, you know, we talk about the Richland Northeast offense. We talk about the Camden defense. The reason Camden's been successful this year, Wyatt Thompson, that kid can move.
Yeah, he's quick. He's quick.
I don't know what he looks like on film. In person, he's fast.
Yeah.
He's quick. And I don't think defenses, anticipate him be as fast as they are because, boy, he gets the hole very quickly. He doesn't dance around. I mean, he goes. He doesn't waste time getting the ball up the field. It's going to be two really fun to watch the quarterbacks run around on Friday night. Going to be a really fun game. But I like Camden to make adjustments in the second half. Maybe they don't need to. But I think we're going to see that. If I had to guess, that's how that game's going to play out. Richland Northeast have a good first half. Maybe he even have the lead, and the Camden defense makes adjustments to win the game in the second half.
I think you're certainly on something there, John. It's just, it's just so hard to pick R&E until we've seen them do it against a big-time program like this as well. You know, maybe this is the week that they show us and prove it to us, man. But I think the story for the last couple of years has been plenty of points, defense kind of shaky. I think if that happens again this week, I think Camden has too much firepower. I think they win this game.
And this might be the toughest game R&E has all year. Last game of the season, region game against South Point. Probably going to be for the region title. That will be a very fun game to talk about when the time comes.
Perfect. Jerel, comments from you or the chat on this RNE Camden matchup?
I'll be brief. I'm just going to complete the sweep. I think Camden wins this football game. Don't like how much I've had to agree with John so far today, but maybe I should because he's kicking our butts in the pick'em.
I was about to say, look at the pick'em scores.
I mean, he's killing us right now. So we'll see what happens. He'll forget to pick a week. We'll be fine. But I think it's a situation. It's Will Wilson and those receivers, not just Batet. Isaiah Small as well had a big game for those guys. I think it's them against that Camden defense, and you can't let Will Wilson take over this game. If you do, Camden's going to be in trouble. But I think they're good enough to contain him. You're not going to stop him,
right?
And I think they win it.
Perfect. Any comments from the chat on that one there, Jerel?
I've already placed them up, so we're good to the next
Perfect.
game.
All right. As always, guys, if you're just tuning in now and you missed a game or missed a classification, you can always go back when we're finished. We talked about 5A down through SCISA earlier, going through our CONA games of the week now. And our final, John, CONA game of the week, a big one. One that hasn't been big for a few years now, but it's pretty dang big this year. Region play is going, and I think there's a pretty good chances for the region title. And that is Gaffney at 3-0, traveling to Boiling Springs, also 3-0. Last year, Gaffney won this game 17-7. I think late October, their close matchup. Gaffney, a nice win over Freedom, 31-0 last week. The quarterback, Javon Gilmore, 16 for 26, 195 and 3 touchdowns. Chaz Smith, 10 for 106, 1 touchdown, 36 receiving yards, and another touchdown there. Offensive lineman, Shed Surratt, the South Carolina commit. Wide receivers, Davidson and Jamarcus Smith. Jamarcus Smith had 8 for 113 and another touchdown there. Had 4 sacks on defense. Josh Corey had 2. Linebacker Andrew Roop is a playmaker in the middle of the field for them. Also a dangerous player in the Wildcat as well. Not sure the status of Jaden McDowell. I know Chaz Smith got majority of the carries last week. Not sure if Jaden is going to be full go this week or not. We'll see. That's a big piece of that Gaffney offense, of course, there. Boiling Springs had a bye last week, but 2 weeks ago they played and Lincoln Husky had a huge game. 262, 3 touchdowns. Receiver Kyle Patterson, 6 for 128, 2 touchdowns. He's had 2 touchdowns in all 3 games this season, John. 8 touchdowns so far on the year. Having a big game receiving the football there for Boiling Springs. Running backs Javen Chim and Gavin Calhoun, the Abbeville transfer. Defensively, TJ Collins, Calhoun, Jeremiah Favorite, Parker Tapp playing really well for the Bulldogs. This is a game, John, we know what Gaffney is. They are always good, always competitive, always a state championship contender. Boiling Springs trying to get to that level. And we've been high on them the last couple years. We love what Coach Reel's doing. This is a week where they could take a step forward, could let everybody know, hey, we are the real deal. Are they ready for that next step, John? Is Gaffney too much? What do you like here in this matchup?
I think both things can be true. I think they do. I think they are taking the next step as a program this year. At the same time, I don't think they're as good as Gaffney. I don't. I think this is a very competitive game. Again, I think we see something very similar to what we saw last year. I think we see a 10-point ball game, somewhere in that neighborhood. I think there's going to be more points this week than what we saw last year. But, Lincoln Husky, love him back at quarterback at Boiling Springs. He's got experience. He's smart with the football. They're a well-coached group, obviously, with Coach Reel. Gaffney's they're just a better team. They're a better program. They got a little bit more talent. But we're going to say that about almost everybody that Gaffney is going to play this year, and even in the playoffs. Gaffney's that good. They're beatable. They're beatable. We saw them play against Jerel, man. They're over there at Slayton Field, and they could have lost that game. 1 play, maybe 2 plays go the other way. They could lose that game. I mean, that was overtime. That was an overtime ball game. Boiling Springs is good enough to win the game if things go right for them. But Gaffney, to me, they've just got too much talent. And what I really like about on the Indian side of this as well, they've been tested. They got tested that week 1 game. They know what they have to do to buckle down the fourth quarter. And boy, they had to do it because Jerel, man, was coming on strong. Yeah. They had a really good fourth quarter, a really good third quarter. I think fourth quarter, played really well to get back into that game. Gaffney's been tested. They've proven they can play, in crunch time. And like Cody says, Boiling Springs had to play a defense like Gaffney. Gaffney is a very, very good defense, but you can make plays. You can make plays. Jalen Mann scored 40 points on them. You can still score on those guys. Hussey's a really good player. I think we're going to see a good game. I think Bowling Springs is good, and they're going to be a problem in the playoffs, but I still think Gaffney wins the spot probably 10 to 14 points.
Super excited for this quarterback matchup. Javon Gilmore has been all you could ask for and more so far for Gaffney. The transfer has played great football. The Arkansas commit there has been just lighting it up so far through 3 games, playing fantastic ball, taking care of the football, throwing it downfield, big plays, taking what's there, running the ball as well. Super, super good start to his season. And then Lincoln Husky, a guy that, we learned about last year, played good football, has played great so far this year. He's a lacrosse commit, I believe it is, but starting to get football offers now too. So we'll see how that shakes out. But
big kid,
really good player, really a really big kid there. Can run it, can hang in the pocket, can sling it a little bit. Coach Reel at Bowling Springs is building a good program. A team that had some success. I guess it was maybe now 8-10 years ago now. Had some nice runs of playoffs. Had some down years. They're heading the right direction. They won 2 games in year 1, 4 games in year 2. So he's on a little doubling streak there. I think he's got a good chance to win 8 this year. I'll put it that way. I think they could certainly go 8-2 or 9-1. But I think this is one of the losses this week. I think Gaffney, a little too much, man, a little too much firepower. And I think there's something to be said for a program that has been there, not just this year, but just always been there. Been a lot of big football games. Bowling Springs hasn't been tested this year like that. Has not been in a ton of big games to this level yet. I think Gaffney, the experience, even though it's on the road, I think the Indians win this matchup. But I think it could be a really exciting football game. I hope it is. We may be going to that one. We'll see. Could be a really exciting football game on Friday night, but I like Gaffney to win this matchup.
And even if Bowling Springs loses, they could be the number 2 team in this region.
Yeah.
I think that is a very good possibility.
I agree.
That's right. Phil Petty and Dillon Thompson, very, very good Gamecock quarterbacks. I grew up watching Phil Petty, actually watching Phil Petty in person a few times. And Dillon Thompson, I wish I didn't see him in person the few times as I saw him beat Clemson. But yeah, 2 great quarterbacks. Good pedigree, good quarterback pedigree over there at Bowling Springs.
No doubt. Jerel, comments from you or the chat on this Gaffney Bowling Springs matchup?
I guess I'll bite and I'll be the one that picks against Gaffney. My head is screaming. Whoa. My head is screaming Gaffney.
Gaffney fans, screenshot this. Remember,
of course, they're the favorite. I'm not doing anything stupid this week, but I'm going with my gut. I think Bowling Springs wins this game. They're going to win by 3, last second field goal. That's just, it is what it is. I don't know. I'm just going Bowling Springs. I'm feeling it this week, and I think Gaffney is obviously going to play for a state title, but they lose this week. It's going to be the one loss for Gaffney this year.
Interesting. And I do think the health of Jay McDowell is a big thing. Obviously, he had a big game from Chad Smith last week, but Jay McDowell is one of the best players in the state. I mean, he's a stud. You need him out there if you're Gaffney. Region play around is here now. You feel like you want to do anything you can to get him on the field, and he is a key piece in the Indians offense.
Yeah, I think if Gaffney has to throw the football more than what they typically would, I think they can do that, and I think they can still win that way too. I don't think the loss of McDowell is going to dictate losing and winning this game for Gaffney. I think they're good enough to compensate for that with Gilmore.
Perfect. Any other comments, Jerel, from anybody on this game or any other CONA games league, or just anything in general before we go into the next portion of the program?
My friends at Gaffney are just yelling at me right now through the comments, so nothing.
No way.
I love it. Once again, our CONA games of the week, we have Richard Winn at Wardlaw, Chapin at Summerville, Dillon at Hartsville, Richland Northeast at Camden, and Gaffney at Bowling Springs. If you guys missed those games, you can go back when the show's over and check them out. But Jerel, let's give a quick shout out to some friends of the program before we look at our pick'em and then our brand new Moving the Chains polls here tonight.
Preferred Home Services. How can we make you smile today? Preferred Home Services. For electrical or plumbing, cooling too. Go, 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 Preferred.
Facing unexpected expenses and need a quick play? A personal loan from Founders Federal Credit Union can help you cover costs and get back in the game. With competitive rates and flexible terms, a personal loan from Founders is the winning play. Whether it's for a big purchase or an emergency, we've got you covered. Visit foundersfcu.com/personal to get started. Terms and conditions apply. Membership qualification required.
Let's take a look now at our Pick'em contest brought to you by Hannah Engineering. This week and last week, John, have been really tough. A lot of games could go either way, Jerel. Let's take a look at our Week 3 leaders. Congratulations, JB Moss with the Big 10 spot. Lots of 9s there from Ben and Chris, Dale, Tracy, Mark, SNQU, and Brandon. An 8 spot from me, a 7 from John and Jerel. I gained 1 on John finally this week. But a lot of great scores there. Once again, if you're just doing it now, you can join in. We'll still drop your lowest. We got a chance still to catch up. Overall leaders, a 4-way tie for first with Charlie, Kane, Dale, and Isaiah at 33. Some 32s, 31s as well. John leading everybody with 35 there. Jerel and I tie with 29 at this point. But once again, join in on that. We post it on our Facebook page, our Twitter page, also our website. Join our Pick'em each week. A lot of fun to do. It gives you a reason to watch every team other than your own. So definitely join that by Hannah Engineering. Appreciate our great friends of the program there. And now, guys, let's take a look. I don't know if we would go small to big, John or Jerel. I'll let you make a call on this. But, as always, we give the other polls a bit of a hard time sometimes. So instead of do our own. Let's start in 5A. Might as well. Division 1, Big 5A, Dutch Fork, all 3 first-place votes. Second place, Summerville. Third, Jailman. Fourth, Sumter. Fifth, Boiling Springs. Learned a lot about Boiling Springs this week. Summerville as well. It's that Chapin matchup. In Division 2 of 5A, Gaffney. We do a split first place vote. So Gaffney with 2, Northwestern with 1, Irmo at 3rd, Hillcrest in 4th, and a 3-way tie for 5th at Berkeley, Chapin, and Riverside. One thing you guys will realize is that with it being so early in the season, we all have some varying thoughts on these teams. You'll see some ties at the end, some other receiving votes and whatnot, but we'll get a better feel as we go along once we get more into region play. But fun look at 5A there. Any thoughts on the polls, John or Jerel? I think it makes sense to me what we've got up there. I don't know how you look at some other teams that didn't make it in there, really.
Yeah, we're doing this in week 4, which goes to show there's a ton of uncertainty here in week 4. A preseason poll, a week 1 poll. Man, who really knows? At that point in time, week 0. I don't know anybody would have Chapin anywhere near their top 10.
Yeah.
I just want to tell the Gaffney fans that I had Gaffney as number 1. So just to clear that after making a pick against them this week.
I think I did too. I think I also have them.
I think you did. I don't know if you did or not. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. We'll learn a lot about some of these teams, Chapin and Summerville and Boiling Springs and Gaffney, of course, this week in 5A. A lot of fun. But Jerel, let's look now at our 4A and 3A. 4A, West Side, no surprise there, clean sweep with 3 first-place votes. Daniel, 2nd. Camden, 3rd. Gets interesting here. We got a 3-way tie for 4th with RNE, South Lawrence, South Point, and 2 more receiving votes, Gray Collegiate and May River. On the 4A side, guys, I had a hard time on the back end of this one. I wanted to put West Side up high. I wanted to put Daniel up high. After that, I was not really sure. Gray Collegiate, you forget they beat James Island week 0. A really good win for them because they played Baylor and Dutch Fork since then. May River, a team that's undefeated. We don't know a ton about still. What do you do with those guys? R&E we'll learn about this week. Same with Camden. See how good they are. Camden, that one lost to White Knoll so far. South Lawrence had a huge bounce-back win. How good are they? South Point, they've got 2 losses, but they're 2 pretty good football teams. 4A is going to be a lot of fun, I think, after those, first couple spots to kind of see how that really shakes out.
Yeah, and I'll stand by what I put up there. I didn't put South Point in my top 5. However, I will accept the argument they're one of the top 5 teams in 4A. I don't like rewarding teams for losses, even if it's a good loss.
Yeah.
I'd rather reward a team for winning.
Especially this early too,
With that said, South Point, if they really are top 5, they're going to get there. They're going to win games. It's same with Gray, same with these other teams that play tough out of reach in conference or out of reach in play. Things will shake out where they should be as reach and play unfolds.
Perfect. Back to 3A. We got BHP, all 3 first place votes. That's one where I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. Obviously we saw BHP, for lack of a better term, they got hammered last week, John. They really did. Yeah. But West Side's really good. So BHP gets all 3 first place votes. Dillon comes in at 2nd. Region foe Loris is at 3 spot. Mountain View and Woodruff tie for 4th. Also receiving votes. Another region team there for Dillon and Loris. Marlboro County and Oceanside Collegiate got a vote as well. 3A, same story where I didn't really want to go anywhere on that one. I could have easily put, I feel like, a Dillon team there at 1. I'm high on Oceanside. I know they've had a couple tough losses to Irmo and then another Georgia team. had a big win over Ashley Ridge already. Another Georgia Team Cavalry Day they beat. MVP, how good are they? We'll see as we get down the road here. Woodruff looked really good against Clinton and Fountain Inn so far this year. You know I love Loris. I mean, I'm high on Loris. And Marlboro County and Dillon, that region's going to be nuts to watch.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, I thought a little bit about Dillon being number one. I thought a little bit about Mountain View being number one because I think out of 3A collectively, they probably had the most talent out of anybody. Now, I'm not going to rank somebody just because of their talent, but I'm saying as the weeks unfold, they be up there. I thought preseason, hey, BHP's number one, and that's it.
Yeah.
Now I don't know. I'm not so sure. I think there's a couple teams that could make that claim and certainly can make that claim as the next couple weeks ago.
Perfect. Looking down at 2A and 1A. 2A, another split here. Hampton County, 2 first-place votes. Batesburg, Leesville with 1 third. Clinton and tied for 4th. Barnwell and Saluda receiving votes, as well as Strom Thurman there in 2A. Another one, Hampton County, have not played the toughest schedule yet. We'll find out more about them as we go along. Batesburg, Leesville, super impressive win over Abbeville a couple weeks back. They back it up with a lower Richland win last week. Clinton had the tough loss to Woodruff, but have played well since then, beating Chapman, beating Lawrence, beating – there's one other good team I'm forgetting. I can't remember who it was. Jerel, do you remember, John? Do you remember? Between Lawrence and Newberry. They beat Newberry as well. Yes, sorry. Another good win there for Clinton.
Mistake on that. My fault. Clinton actually got a first-place vote, not Batesburg-Leesville. Excuse me.
Okay. Flip that around there. Saluda, we'll see what to do when they get their quarterback back, how they're going to be. I don't know. But 2A, another one that we're still have a lot to shake out, it feels like.
Yeah, a lot of really good teams in 2A too.
Perfect. 1A, Abbeville, all 3 first-place votes. Barenberg Earhart, number 2. Blackfield, Hilda, 3, Louisville, 4th, and a tie for 5th. Dixie, Lamar, Williston, Elko. Look at Williston Elko getting some love there in 1A. Another class where, I feel like we knew that Abbeville was maybe the front runner. That Batesburg-Leesville loss worries me a little bit. We'll see. Louisville, same thing, a tough loss last week as well. Blackfield Hilda has already fallen to Barnwell. Some pieces there that could certainly change. I think Lamar's very good. I don't know. What do you guys like in 1A?
I still think Abbeville is head and shoulders number one for me. Mm-hmm. But after that, it gets really hazy.
Yeah. Jerel, what do you like about 1A and 2? I know I kind of skipped over you there. Sorry in those two. Give your thoughts on that, or 3 or 4, whatever you want to. Feel free to pop in.
It's the same. I think we were all pretty similar. We all had the same top 4 in 1A. We all struggled with the fifth place team. I mean, it's just who do you pick for that slot? And then also with 2A, like I apologize for Clinton getting that first place vote. I definitely think they're very deserving there. These are some very good teams. 2A was hard to do as well. So I like the way it looks. I like the way it shook out, and it looks fantastic.
I want to bring this up and get you guys' thoughts on this, and I'll explain to you why I'm going here in a second. What would you guys say if there is a team that in their first 4 games had given up 7 points, 43 points, 37 points, and 28 points their first 4 weeks of the season?
I would say they need to work on defense.
Jerel?
Inconsistent on defense?
What if I told you that was Abbeville? That was the Panthers.
Yeah.
And that worries me a little bit, and it gave me some concern there with that. I thought about not putting the number 1 because that defense worries me. I know it's, Powdersville, 96, Batesburg, Leesville. That's a lot of points. On the flip side, they have been scoring a lot. DeMarcus Lee's doing a great job there for Coach Nichols, but the defense has some things to work out. That is not a great showing so far this season there for the Panthers on that side of the ball, at least.
That is alarming, and I would not. You could have given me 10 guesses, and I would not have guessed Abbeville.
Yeah, David's sleeping on HKT.
Good team.
Yeah, I think they're good too. I just that Louisville game where you get the Lions beat them pretty handily kind of soured me a little bit on them, but they do have some athletes down there for sure. The Trojans do.
I thought about putting them in my top 5, and I was like, I couldn't do it because of that Louisville game.
Perfect. Any other comments on the polls, Jerel? I'm sure we got some at least on the big ones. Chris says take MVP off the list. I think they're pretty good, Chris. We'll see. And then Cody says they're going to win all the first year. So we got some button heads there between Cody and Chris on that one. Heather said MVP will continue to show and prove, no doubt. Yeah, I think that the regular football team is why we got them in the top 5 for sure. Playing good football there. Cordy says Big Bears. We know what BHP can do. They're a good squad as well.
Yeah, I think that's it for right now. We're getting some HKT love for sure.
I like it.
We hear that. And I will say if we were going to like 7, 8 deep, I would have had HKT there. Yep. I just didn't think they were quite top 5 for me right now with what they've done so far.
They're right there. They might be there next week.
Yep. Shout out to our teams of the week, South Florence, Powdersville, and Greer, brought to you by Preferred Home Services. Our players of the week, Will Wilson, R&E, the 8-touchdown game there. Armani Weaver at Westside, scoring touchdowns, kickoff return, receiving, and pick 6. And then Jalen Singletary, Hampton County, 2 pick 6s and 2 rushing touchdowns there. Players of the week brought to you by the Georgia AC. As always, guys, shoot us over the stats you guys see. Send it to us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, email, whatever. Get us over the stats. We can definitely shout out those guys. Join our pick'em again on Hannah Engineering. That's always a lot of fun to do. And guys, give us some feedback on our new show format. We kind of flipped it and started going to our CONA games of the week at the end of the show. So at the beginning, do you like that better, worse? Give us your thoughts. We're happy to do whatever the people will like and tune into more. So definitely give us your feedback on that. If you guys tune in for the first time or not, we really appreciate that. Check us out here on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and more at Movin Chains, MOVINCHAINS. MovinChains.com is our website, podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google, and more. Be sure to share, like, comment, tell your friends. It's a lot more fun when you guys are chiming in with your thoughts. We want to get more people in here if we can, so definitely do that. It's great fun to have a whole group going and have a whole group chatting because John and I and Jerel, we don't get to see everybody. We have our thoughts on everybody, but to get people who have seen it firsthand is a lot of fun. And it makes it fun to have you guys call us out on stuff too, right?
Yeah, sure. We're not claiming to be experts. That's right.
So definitely share and tell everybody about our program. Love to have you guys help us make it bigger and bigger. As always, you're Moving the Chains merch. We got some great hats, some great toboggans as well, some gray stuff, some black stuff, really good stuff for the cold weather coming up here. We've got new T-shirts. We've got good-looking shirts here. We got gray shirts, black shirts, navy blue shirts as well. A couple pink shirts for the ladies as well, I think, maybe on the way. We'll see. Email us, mtcgear.sc@gmail.com. Hit us up on Facebook or at Twitter/X as well. Got the hoodies we mentioned. Really high-quality stuff. I wear my stuff. I don't wear it just because it's for us. I wear it because it actually feels good and it's very comfortable. So definitely get you guys some too. Support the boys. Wear it out to the ball games. Love to have y'all repping some Moving the Chains merch and gear. I want to shout out our friends at Strom Thurmond from last week and our friends at Winn, friends at Westside as well, all hooking us up to let us go to those ball games. Got to see a lot of friends all across the state on Thursday, Friday. I know we saw, Coach Freight and Coach Perdomo and our guy Blake there at Wren. We saw Coach Tone over there at TL Hanna. We saw North Augusta, Coach Bush and Coach Thomas. And then we saw Strom Thurmond, Coach Webb, and our buddy Reese, and all the great folks down there, Coach Horton as well. Really fun to get down there. I know, John, you saw Eli over BHP. Great. Saw some great folks up there in Anderson County at that matchup as well. Jerel, any final thoughts from you or from the chat here on our Week 4 preview show?
Oh, love the poll. The poll has got people talking, so it's going to be fun. So be sure to keep the commentary. And the best thing about our poll is it's always fluid. It can change very, very quickly when you only have 3 people voting. So it's subject to change next week. Also, I will say, if you are watching on YouTube, we appreciate it. If you do not follow us on YouTube and you follow us on other platforms, we're trying to build that platform up. So please just go over there and subscribe. Even if you don't ever use it, just go subscribe for us. We would really appreciate it. But other than that, great show, guys.
Perfect. Any comments we need to address on the show before we pop out?
A lot of Marlboro. We're sleeping on Marlboro County.
Hey, they're getting votes. They're getting votes.
It's hard for us because we do a top 5. 3 teams from one region are taking up our top 5. So, I mean, that's how good those teams are. So we left one out this week. We're subject to see all 3 next week. So you never know.
Yeah, I did see a comment saying, do we sell the swag at the games we go to? So we sometimes have a limited supply at the ball game. So if you see us at a game, ask us, we may have a hat or 2 or a hoodie or shirt in the car. So definitely let us know. We may have something there for you. So definitely hit us up if you see us at a matchup.
Well, we can bring, if you're going to be at a game, we're going to be there.
That's right.
Let us know beforehand. We can bring it.
Great point. So definitely.
Also Gaffney fans, you don't have to meet me at a Founders. parking lot to beat me up this week, and I'll probably be over there at Bowling Springs, so we can line it up in the parking lot.
We'll
there.
point him out. He's here.
I'll be wearing Moving the Chains merch, so go get your stuff too.
I love it. I love it. And guys, you know, we say it every week. If you missed part of the show, you missed the CONA Games week, you missed 5A, 2A, whatever it is, you can go back and watch it afterwards. So definitely make sure you do that. You know, it isn't a live and gone show. It's a live and then it lives forever on Facebook and YouTube. And I think even, you know, podcasts and Twitter stuff now too. So go check it out there. Please, please, please help us by telling your friends and making this bigger and bigger. It really means a lot to have you guys tuning in and checking us out each and every week. But for Jerel Hendricks and John Epps, I'm Kevin Thomas. Moving the Chains is always brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. This has been our Week 4 South Carolina High School Football Preview Show, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
Get ready for the ultimate South Carolina high school football experience with Movin The Chains. From previews to recaps, we've got you covered. Dive into our expert preview shows, predicting winners and sharing insights. Then join us post-game for the thrilling recaps, exclusive interviews, and highlights you won't find anywhere else. Plus, connect with fellow fans on our Friday night spaces on Twitter/X. No one covers South Carolina high school football like us. Join us at Movin Chains on all social media platforms and visit movinchains.com today.